This is what you need to do, Vinegar Syndrome. This is what you need to do. And listen to me, okay? Listen to me, because if you don't, your company's going to be out of business. So I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to have to make this video today, but some things have to be said about Vinegar Syndrome and how they're choosing to run their company, some of the decisions that they're making. I can't keep my mouth shut anymore. Okay. It's getting ridiculous. They are going to run their company into the ground. And I can't stand, look, I like Vinegar Syndrome. I sometimes I love Vinegar Syndrome. I think they're super interesting as a boutique label. They've done so many incredible releases. They do fantastic work. I don't want to see them destroy themselves as a company. So I have to step in and I have to offer some advice, some input, maybe give them some pointers to kind of send them in the right direction and really get themselves back on track. So, of course, guys, look, they've disappointed me. They've really disappointed me. What we're going to be talking about today is the VSU line, okay? Because the VSU line is a line that I did not collect from the very beginning. I started collecting it with Roadhouse on 4K, and then I had one of my very generous subscribers send me the first 3 in the VSU line, and after that, the rest was history. I was like, oh, this is such a cool line. You got nice collectible, packaging right here, magnetic cases, like with the slip covers inside. They were just kind of revolutionary at the time. I feel like there's been other labels that have tried to duplicate it since, and they just haven't quite gotten it to the standards of Vinegar Syndrome. So revolutionary packaging. And then like from Roadhouse, we had sidekicks, which I love. And I was like, I got to collect all these now. But it's gotten to the point where it's like, I feel like they've lost their way with the VSU line. And I have to step in, guys. I have to talk about this. I have to express my frustrations with Vinegar Syndrome. They're disappointing me. I think they're disappointing everybody lately. I've been hearing a lot of people online saying Vinegar Syndrome sucks, Vinegar Syndrome this and all that. So I don't know if it's like directly about the VSU line. Maybe it's about something else that I just don't really know that much about. But for me, it's about the VSU line. It's like you guys had something and now you've almost lost it. You've lost your way. You've lost like the types of films that you were supposed to do with that line, because with the VSU line, what it was supposed to be all about, at least for me, it was supposed to be alternative movies to the horror genre, movies that don't operate, in the horror genre, movies that operate outside of that genre. And then like when they started doing stuff like Sidekicks, when they started doing stuff like Cloak and Dagger, when they started doing stuff like Daryl even, which I wasn't even a huge fan of that movie, I was like, this is the right track. Like this is the perfect track for this line. You need to stay in this space. Like the 80s, 90s, like kid fantasy type films. Like those are the kind of movies you need to be tackling, because these are the types of movies that your audience, that your customer base is nostalgic for. Nobody gives a damn about failed blockbusters from the 90s, like Virtuosity, like Navy SEALs, like all these other titles, like Southern Comforts. Okay. And I've got all the titles right here. I wanted to go through them. And this video is not going to take too long. I'm already getting into the rants of the video. Yeah, Vinegar Syndrome, guys, like I don't know any other thing. I don't know any other way to put it other than they're disappointing me. And they need to make things right. They do. They absolutely need to make things right. They need to get things back on track, because people are laughing at them. They're not taking them seriously anymore. Like there's some people out there saying, I'm not going to order from Vinegar Syndrome anymore because they don't care about their own stuff. Why should I? Like they have no rhyme or reason with their stuff. They're just pumping out crap here and there. It makes no sense. Like, what are you guys doing? You got like 50,000 different branches and lines and stuff. Like what is going on with Vinegar Syndrome as a company? They need to make things right. And I'm going to help them. Okay. I'm going to help them here today, whether or not Vinegar Syndrome watches this and they take notice and they take my advice. I I don't know. Okay, I'm not Vinegar Syndrome. I don't know. They could very well just not even know who the hell I am. You can go listen to whoever else. You can go listen to your nerdy people online that's like, put out more 70s obscure horror films that were shot on a potato for $5. Put out more of those. That's what we want. That's not what they want. That's not what the people want. People want more sidekicks. They want more Cloak and Dagger. They want more films like that. Okay, that's what the people want. So we're gonna get Vinegar Syndrome back on track. But let's get in. Let's run through all the VSU releases real quick, guys. You know, because I have them all here. I have the first 11, and I did not get the most recent one, The Golden Child. I mean, an Eddie Murphy comedy from the 80s, which is like Eddie Murphy's was like super mainstream in the 80s. What are you guys doing? Everybody knows The Golden Child. That's like releasing Beverly Hills Cop VSU. Like that, it just makes no sense. So I didn't get that one. I don't know if I'm gonna get that one or not. They're announcing another VSU here shortly. I think if they announce the right VSU, it could drag me back in. And if they drag me back in with the next two VSUs and start putting out some good stuff, I may go back and get the Golden Child just because I couldn't live with myself and my collection if I didn't have a complete VSU collection. But what they do with these next two VSUs, the one they announced on Subscriber Week, July, which they're now doing 4 a year, it seems like, because they're going to do one Subscriber Week, then they're going to do one in Black Friday as well. But what they do with these next two VSUs is very important to the future of the line, in my opinion, because I'm already thinking about jumping out with the Golden Child. So like if they announce another two that it's like I just have no interest in these, I don't need these. They're more failed blockbusters from the 90s, like Congo, which I love Congo. Okay, I freaking love Congo. It has no place in the VSU line. It just has no place in it. But they started off with a cool, like, you know, fantasy, obscure adventure directed by Don Coscarelli, the Beastmaster. Like, this is a cool release. You know, I feel like, again, this is the originator of the line. So to say that this one isn't in line with what the line should be would be, you know, not selling it correctly, because this is what started the line. So of course the Beastmaster belongs in the VSU collection. We also got Six String Samurai. I haven't seen this movie, but it feels like a, you know, a cult 80s, 70s film that maybe nobody ever heard of, but it kind of operates outside of the normal conventions of what Vinegar Syndrome does and the horror genre. So that works for me, I guess. But then like when they got into stuff like Cloak and Dagger and they started to do cool things like this, like you got a freaking Atari like packaging in there, which is super awesome. I was like, okay, this is the direction they need to go in. And I know that Shout Factory had it, but like doing something like The Wizard would be like super in line with what I think the VSU line should be. Like movies like that, like The Wizard would be incredible as a VSU edition, in my opinion. But then you got Roadhouse, which is just a kick-ass, cool, like 80s action flick with Patrick Swayze. I'll take that. I'll allow that in the VSU line. Because like Roadhouse is an adult film, but it's also a movie that tons of kids grew up with. So I kind of lump this in the same like kids action adventure, you know, type movie. But then you got Sidekicks, which is like Karate Kid light, you know, but this is the one that I grew up with. I did not watch Karate Kid until like, I think 6 or 7 years ago for the first time. I grew up watching Sidekicks. I grew up watching the next Karate Kid. Like these are the movies that I loved watching when I was a kid. And this one, Chuck Norris, Jonathan Brandis, who Jonathan Brandis is probably my favorite actor. You know, when I was a kid, I loved him in this and It's the 1990 miniseries, of course, Ladybugs and Neverending Story 2. But this one was such a cool addition, and this one just like really solidified the line for me. And I was like, I'm collecting they keep doing stuff like Sidekicks. It really got my brain working, the stuff that they could do, which we'll talk about that here in a second. But Sidekicks was a great release. Then they did Showgirls, which is this one kind of rides the line a little bit for me. Like it was a cool release and it definitely operates outside of the horror genre, but it also feels like something they could have released, you know, within their regular line. Like this could have been a regular Vinegar Syndrome edition to me, because it kind of operates in that more like, you know, not necessarily like softcore porn, but kind of more in that dirty movie space, which is kind of what Vinegar Syndrome is known for. Like this could have been one of their like, you know, porn site releases. What's that line called? Mezzanine or something like that. I can't pronounce that line. I don't spend too much time on the website, guys. But yeah, the Showgirls, it was a cool addition, but I don't know if Showgirls is the type of film that operates well within this line. But I will say I did watch this many times when I was a kid, probably, a couple of years after I watched Sidekicks for the first time. So maybe it works. I don't know. But I wasn't going to I'm not going to kick Vinegar Syndrome too much for that one. But then we got Daryl, which I wasn't a huge fan of this, but I think Daryl is fits perfectly in this line. It's kind of a kid's fantasy adventure film, sci-fi movie. I think it fits perfectly, even though I wasn't a huge fan of the movie. But then the cracks really started showing when they did this movie, Southern Comfort, which I love this movie. It's directed by Walter Hill, but it doesn't belong in this line. It does not belong in this line at all. This movie is pretty much a horror film. It really is. Yeah, it's like a war jungle survival type movie, but it's kind of a survival horror film. It gets very like cultish Wicker Man like towards the last in the last 30 minutes. So I think this is very much kind of operates like within the normal like Vinegar Syndrome releases. You could have done just a regular edition of this and it would have fit just fine in the Vinegar Syndrome VSU collection. So Southern Comfort to me does not belong as a VSU, even though I really, really love the movie. Really love the movie. And then you get this run of failed blockbusters. Like this is what I call this. And I'm like, what are we doing now? Like, why are we not going after some of these other like, childhood nostalgic films? Like, why are we catering to these failed blockbusters that nobody saw in the theaters, and then when they wound up on the video store shelves, maybe people rented them and hated them and never watched them again? Why are we focusing on movies like Navy SEALs? What is this? Then we've got Congo on 4K, which I'm super nostalgic for Congo. Rewatch Congo on 4K. Not a great movie. Not really a great movie. I'm still nostalgic for it. I like it, but not a great movie. And it was a failed blockbuster coming off the success of Jurassic Park. Then we got Virtuosity, which is like a sci-fi action film with Denzel Washington and Russell Crowe that I never saw, but is another one that kind of came out and nobody cared about. So it's like you're packaging up this crap in these nice, pretty box sets, and nobody gives a shit. This is what you need to do, Vinegar Syndrome. This is what you need to do. And listen to me, okay? Listen to me, because if you don't, your company's going to be out of business, okay? It's going to be out of business. This is what you need to do with your VSU line. You need to release, okay, listen to me, you need to release Surf Ninjas from, I believe, 1993. Surf Ninjas needs to have a 4K VSU edition, okay? Surf Ninjas. It's a New Line Cinema film. That is Warner Brothers. They're not doing anything with it. They did like a 3-pack DVD edition with a couple other movies. I've seen it at Walmart. Even recently, I've seen it at Walmart. They're not doing anything with it. I don't even think there's a Blu-ray of it. Why are you not going after films like Surf Ninjas? It's not Disney. Like, it's Warner Brothers. Like, you could go after that film. You could do a nice VSU edition of Surf Ninjas. It would look great with the beach setting. I would love to see the Sega Game Gear in the 4K format, guys. Come on. That's one I'm super nostalgic for. Like, Surf Ninjas on 4K. Also, what you need to do, guys, I'm helping Vinegar Syndrome right now. I'm helping them get back on track. What you need to do is Suburban Commando with Hulk Hogan. That is what you need to do. These are the type of titles that you need to be putting out on 4K from Vinegar Syndrome as a part of the VSU line. Imagine the incredible artwork you could do with Suburban Commando. I think this is also a Warner Brothers movie, maybe New Line Cinema as well. So you could get this one. You could get this one for I'm sure nothing. Pennies on the dollar. They've never even done a Blu-ray of this. Warner Brothers doesn't give a crap about this title. Do Suburban Commando, 4K, UHD, nice box set with Hulk Hogan and all the gear. You got the freaking alien guy on the back as well from the end of the film. You could put the Undertaker on there. Christopher Lloyd's in this movie. Shelley Duvall's in this film. Like, it's such a fun movie from the 90s, and it's absolutely a kid's fantasy sci-fi movie, nostalgic piece. I don't know why more people don't talk about this movie. I freaking love this film, but you need to do a 4K VSU of that. It would freaking fly off the shelves. You would sell so many copies. You could put up 24,000 copies. It would sell out in a weekend. It would go beyond the keep, as far as sales. So that's what you need to do. You also need to do, guys, you also need to do, don't tell mom the babysitter's dead. And maybe people have been trying to do this. So to be fair, this is one that it's like an HBO, yeah, kind of thing. It's like HBO, I think, owned it. They put out the DVD. It hasn't been upgraded to Blu-ray. Maybe there's some issues here, but I see HBO and I think, okay, well, this one, Warner Brothers should have some kind of, affiliation with this. So I don't know. This just feels like one that should have been put out already. So maybe it can't, but like you have to try. Like you have to put everything, like you made enough money, right? You got to put everything you got into getting a 4K UHD, or to getting the license to this film and putting out a 4K UHD of Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, because that would sell 30,000 copies in 24 hours. It would sell 30,000 copies in 24 hours. It's one of the greatest dark comedy kids films of the 90s, and it would freaking kill it if you put that out on 4K. Also, guys, okay, look, you put out Congo, fun monkey movie from the 90s, fun monkey movie. It's a fun monkey movie. You know what else is a fun monkey movie from the 90s? Dunstan Checks In. Dunstan Checks In needs to be 100% a 4K VSU Vinegar Syndrome title. That thing would just fly off of your website so fast, all your little hipster heads would spin when that happened. Like that, I don't think you understand the power of Dunstan Checks In the 90s. You got freaking Paul Rubens in the film, Pee Wee Herman himself. You got Jason Alexander in the movie. Such a great movie. I love Dunstan Checks In, and it perfectly fits, in that like kids like nostalgic era that operated outside of Disney. This was not a Disney film, even though it is a Disney film now. So this one may be hard to get. It was 20th Century Fox, which is now owned by Disney, but I love the movie, and it would make a great VSU edition. So do what you got to do to get this, okay, guys? I don't care what you have to do, but do what you got to do to get it. So that's it, guys. That's what you need to do. Vinegar Syndrome, you're disappointing me. You're disappointing your fan base with some of your actions that you have taken recently, and you need to get yourself back on track. And I believe to do that, you need to put out Suburban Commando on 4K. You need to put out Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead on 4K. You need to put out Dunstan Checks In on 4K, guys. You need to put out Surf Ninjas on 4Ks, three ninjas on 4Ks as well, all the ninjas. But that's it, guys. I said my piece on Vinegar Syndrome. What are your thoughts on this matter? Let me know in the comment section below. Like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications for all future videos, and follow me on all my social media accounts. Those links are down below in the description, and we'll see you next time.